Thank you for joining me. During this session, we are going to be looking at direct and indirect speech and how they are put into sentences. And then we will have a look at changing sentences from direct speech into indirect speech and the opposite way round as well. Before we're able to do that, though, we need to know what we're talking about. We need to understand what direct speech is and what indirect speech is. So let's begin with the one that I think you will probably be most familiar with, and that is the direct speech. So when we're speaking about direct speech, we are speaking about what someone is saying. And we use that within stories an awful lot. And to show that someone is speaking, we put inverted commas around it. Okay. And when you have the direct speech, you will sort of have two separate bits. You have the bit that is being spoken, and you also have the bit that is the reporting clause that says who is speaking. And notice when you have the direct speech, it's not fair. Everything that is being spoken is inside those inverted commas. And with direct speech, you can have the reporting clause, moaned the children, either at the end of the sentence or, like in the second example, it can go at the beginning of the sentence. Okay, so those are the two bits that we need for direct speech. And inside the inverted commas are the exact words that the person is saying. And that is really important when we come to the indirect speech. Okay, so with direct speech, there are certain rules that you will need to follow. So you will need, when you have your direct speech, inverted commas around what is being spoken. Whatever is being said has a capital letter at the beginning of it, whether it is at the beginning of the sentence or whether your reporting clause comes at the beginning and the speech is after it, it still has a capital letter at the start of the speech. At the end of the bit that is being spoken, there is some punctuation. It could be a comma. It may be question marks or exclamation marks, depending on what is being spoken. Or if the speech is at the end of the sentence, it may have a full stop at the end of it. Okay. So that is what direct speech looks like. And I think most of you will be familiar with that from the work that you've done in schools. So comparing the direct speech to indirect speech. So what we have is indirect speech. It is also called reported speech. Okay, so you've got direct speech where you use the speech marks. Indirect speech or reported speech is when you are telling the reader what someone has said, but it isn't them directly speaking. So on the first page, we had the children moaned, it's not fair. Okay. Now, if I am looking at this as indirect speech or as reported speech, I have got my reporting clause part of it at the beginning because I need to show who is who's being reported to speak. So this bit is my reporting clause. And instead of saying it's not fair, which means it is not fair, notice that the tense has changed. Okay, so it was not fair. So often when we do reported speech, you will change this bit here that is, it is not fair. You're changing it into the past tense, so it was not fair. Now, sometimes if you have an individual person speaking, they might say, I am going to the park. Okay. Now, if I am changing I into reported speech, I would sort of say, John said he was not going to the park. So I will also need to change the pronouns within what I am writing. Okay. So some of the rules that we need for the reported speech, you've got with the indirect speech, there are no inverted commas. Okay, so you don't need speech marks for the indirect speech. Like I mentioned a few minutes ago, the tense often changes as well. So in the version here, I've got Sam said, I'm going to the cinema. I'm means I am. If I look at it in reported speech in the red, he was going. So it has changed into past tense. Okay. Also, notice a change in pronouns there because Sam said that he was going to the cinema. If it is Sam that is speaking, he's using the pronoun I. So in the indirect speech, the pronoun has changed to say that he was going to the cinema. And have a look here. Ava said that chocolate was her favourite food. You've got was that is the past tense. If she is doing it in the direct speech, like at the bottom, Ava said chocolate is my favourite food. So notice the switch in pronouns again. It was her favourite food, but it is my favourite food if she is saying it. So those are the key differences. And I think that we will have a go through some of these together just so that we can spot how we are switching sentences from either reported speech into direct speech, but also from direct into reported. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the sentences. So she said that she would never get away with it. I'm looking at that. I can't see any inverted commas, so it must be that it is reported or indirect speech. And we need to think about how are we going to change it to direct speech. And what we need to think about is she said, so that is my reporting clause. That bit stays the same. Now, I don't need the that in there. So what she is actually saying is this part here. But she wouldn't say she would never get away with it because she's speaking about herself. So what we would need to do is she said, and then I need a comma because I'm introducing what she is saying. She said, I will never get away with it. So what she's doing, and I will put it as a contraction, I'll never get away with it. And then I'm going to have the exclamation mark and the speech marks at the end. So notice, not only have we changed our tense, we've also changed the pronoun in it. Now, the next bit that is I'm spotting here, I've visited London many times, remarked Sam. So what I'm noticing, this bit here is what Sam is saying. And that must mean that this here is the direct speech, okay? And because it tells us directly what Sam is saying. Now, to turn it into the reporter speech or indirect speech, I am going to put the Sam remarked at the beginning. And then I am going to change my tense because he said, I have visited London. So I'm going to change my tense to had visited, so it's in the past tense. I'm also going to change my pronoun from I to he. Okay, so we're going to have Sam remarked that he had visited London, and that bit doesn't change, that stays exactly the same many times. So what I've changed there, I have changed my pronoun and I have changed my tense. Okay, now the next one, I'm looking, it's quite easy to spot. There are no inverted commas there. So I know that if there's no inverted commas, I'm going to put an R for it as reported speech. Now, Sarah asked what the weather was like. Now, what she's asking about is the weather, isn't it? So she's asking what the weather was like. But remember, it's in past tense there. So I'm going to change it to present tense and I'm going to have my reporting clause. Sarah asked, and then I'm going to have my comma and my inverted commas. And she's asking, what is the weather like? And then it needs a question mark. She's asking the question and the inverted commas at the end. Okay, so that is the question there. And then the next one, the young boy anxiously explained that he didn't want to go to the park. So I don't have any inverted commas in it. So I'm going to use an R again to show that it is reported speech. And think about what is the young boy actually saying, because there's a lot within the reporting clause there. So what he is actually talking about is the fact that he didn't want to go to the park. Okay, now we need to change the pronoun to I because it is the boy that is speaking, and we need to change the tense from did not to do not. Okay, so I'm still going to have that really long reporting clause at the beginning. So the young boy anxiously explained, and then I need my comma because this is where he starts speaking. He explained, I instead of he, do not instead of did not, so I don't want to go to the park. Oh, and it has missed out. Let me just put the park in there. And a full stop and inverted commas at the end to show that he has finished speaking. So the young boy anxiously explained, I don't want to go to the park. So change the did not into a do not. Okay. So let's have a look at the last few on the sheet then. And the next one, Tom remarked that he wanted to go home. So I can't see again, there's not any inverted commas in there. So again, you're correct, it is reported. Okay, now I'm going to try and do it the other way around this time. So I'm going to try and work out what was said. So he wanted to go home. Okay, now I need to change the pronoun, because Tom, he's speaking about himself, so he would say I, and he wouldn't say I wanted to go home. He would say I want to go home. So I'm going to try and put this time the dialogue at the beginning of my sentence. So I'm going to have my inverted commas. I want to go home. And I think he would probably have a just a comma after it because he's not shouting it or screaming it. He's just remarking it. And then I would have who is speaking? Tom. Tom remarked. Okay, now you could have it the other way around. Tom remarked, I want to go home. It works either way. The next one, I am spotting inverted commas there. So if I am spotting inverted commas, it must be direct speech, okay? And the bit that is being spoken is what's the time? So I need to put who is making the statement. So Sue asked what the time was. Now, with this, I don't need to add any punctuation. I just need to make sure that I've changed the tense. So what the time was rather than what is the time. And then it doesn't need a question because it's like a reported question. Okay, so it doesn't need the question mark at the end there. So the head teacher told the students they must arrive on time. There's no inverted commas. That must be a reported speech. And what is the head teacher reported to have said? They must arrive on time. So I need to think about how am I going to change the pronoun because he wouldn't say they must arrive on time. If the head teacher is speaking to a group of students, he would probably say you. Okay, so I'm going to try again with my dialogue at the beginning. So let's have you must arrive on time. And then a comma and my inverted commas. The head teacher told the students. So the head teacher told the student. And what you might decide that you want to do with that particular one, the word told, you might want to change the speech verb in there. So you might say that the head teacher said to the student or the head teacher explained to the students. So it is possible that you can kind of change that speech verb in there. The last one, quite easy, I think, because I can see those inverted commas there. So the next one there, it is direct speech. And the bit that is being said is my favorite color is blue. Now, what I need to do again is change the pronoun because it is Matilda. Matilda is a girl. So because I am reporting it, Matilda exclaimed that her favourite colour, and then I need to change the tense as well. So I need to change it to the past tense. So Matilda exclaimed that her favourite colour. And instead of is blue, I would put was blue so that we're always putting, if it is reported, it would tend to be in the past tense, okay? And then my full stop at the end. So I will save those so that I can send it through to your parents. And those of you watching the recording, thank you very much for joining me. I hope that it's been helpful for you.